Welcome back to another episode of Do It on the Day. This is my podcast, a video game podcast by Jess McDonald. That is me, which you probably know. If you don't, it's really nice to meet you. Thanks so much for rocking up to my little podcast. It's called Do It on the Day because essentially what we try and do is give you an authentic and genuine experience, which means that this is unedited for better and worse. All the good, the bad, the ugly, the rambling, the ADHD, inability to finish a single sentence is all here for you. And I very much hope you enjoy it. And by the way, I have been reading your comments. And those of you who are telling me that you're enjoying it or relating to the rambling or just find it entertaining, whether you're listening to me in the background, second screening me if you are watching me, or perhaps you're really intently, one mindfully giving me your full attention, which is really intense. And now I really feel like I'm looking right at you if that's you. But whichever one of those you happen to be, I really appreciate you. It is called Do It on the Day, again, because, well, the plan is for me to make this podcast on the day, and I guess I have made it on a day. It's a little late this week. I have to admit that to you. But don't worry, it's totally worth it because this is a hotly requested video that needed to come towards the end of 2025 or the beginning of 2026. And that's because, and now I'll look at this, not even 2 minutes in, and I'm telling you what the episode is about. What a hero. It's time for the Jess Awards. No, I can't think of a JessicAwards. I think one of you guys gave me that. I don't think that one came off the dome. That's what we're going to do, the 2025 Jess Awards. If you're expecting these to follow a regular format like Best Action RPG, Best Performance, Best RPG, Best Independent Game, well known as the category from the Game Awards that was not important enough to make it into the main show. Moment of silence. It's not going to be that kind of awards, but I think we discussed that. I discussed that with a few of you on the stream when we were talking about maybe this being a thing, and it sort of tracks, doesn't it? It would be weird, I think, if I came here to you and just gave you a very basic set of awards categories. So instead of that, now I have written them here in front of me. I'm going to try not to constantly look down. That's not better. Sometimes I think it's funny to think about, there aren't too many of you that listen to this exclusively instead of watching it. Although you're probably not staring at me the whole time anyway. But it is, sometimes I think about what this must sound like if your only experience is the audio, because I do tend to reference the dumb shit I'm doing on camera. Right now I'm just trying to prop up a notebook. Unsuccessfully. We're gonna, this is, I can hold it. If this was a real podcast, this is a part that would be edited out, but it's a do it on the day, fun, take it easy, whatever happens, happens podcast. And why I leave it in is I want to encourage you to do that in your own life. Because whatever happens, happens. You know what you learn from? Fucking up. Making mistakes, things going wrong. When things go right, you don't learn shit. You don't grow from those moments. So it's better that I don't know where to put the notebook, because that is going to give me information. That's going to give me something to lie awake at night and think about. Anyway. So, speaking of the video games that came out this year, there were a lot of wonderful ones. There were a lot of major ones that I personally didn't cotton on to or didn't happen to play. There were games like Hollow Knight Silk Song that I played a little bit of, and I completely am on board with how phenomenal that game was to a lot of people. I think Hades 2 falls into that category too. Donkey Kong Bonanza, do excuse me, I'm just checking so I don't miss anything too major. I'm on ye old Wikipedia. So those are games that I personally didn't check out for one reason or another. I played a little Hollow Knight Silk Song. It's not quite up my alley. I played some of Hades. I could see that being a game I could get into. Um, I did enjoy what I played of the first one. I don't love roguelikes or roguelite. Uh, Generally, I don't like losing progress at all in a video game. I don't even like respawning enemies. I want to clear out an area and no one ever comes back again because I did it. Tick, done. You can tell that I grew up on RPGs where it's like, you have a quest, you complete the quest, done. You got an experience level, that's your experience. It took me a hot minute to make my peace with From Software games that it was possible to lose the experience, aka the souls, embers, whatever you want to call it, based on the souls-like, if you died. That was a hurdle for me. I really hate losing progress. But I can totally see what people loved in both those games, and that isn't to say that there aren't roguelikes and roguelites I got on board with. Not too many this year. There was one that I think that you could certainly call a roguelite, perhaps even a roguelike, that made some of my categories. But I think the best thing I can do is leap right in. I don't think there'll be fancy graphics. I could announce it in a big announcery voice. Would you like that? You can't reply. I'm going to assume that's what you want. Should I start from the beginning? Should I do Game of the Year? Should I do that at the end? I feel like what I really should do is follow the format of the Game Awards. So if anyone wants to hit me up and pay me a ton of money to show trailers during this, well, it'll be too late because naturally this will have gone up. So you will have to apply with your trailer for next year. But not only that do I think I should emulate, but also the Game Awards saved the best for last. You know, that game that I've already forgotten the name of from the people who made Titanfall. Oh my God. You know how they say the very, very best trailer for last? What the fuck was that? The fact that we can't even remember. Hi, God. Yeah. So I think I might go with the same. Maybe I leave the worst award till last. Maybe most disappointing. Maybe most disappointing is just we'll call it the High God Award. Oh, let's write that down. The High God Award. See, this is the ethos of Do It on the Day, is sometimes you have amazing ideas at the very last moment and you gotta chase that shit. And if it turns out to be shit, that's a mistake. And what did we learn just a couple minutes ago? Mistakes are where you thrive. Without further ado, I wonder if I've actually just like tipped the notebook towards you at some point and you can see all the awards. I'm gonna start with a fun category. Now I'm gonna launch through these. So without further ado, here are the Jessica Awards for the video games that came out in 2025. Award number 1. Why the fuck would I name the awards? The award for Too Sad to Keep Playing goes to, of course, Claire Obscure. Now, I will not be spoiling the ending here, but it's not even necessarily about the ending. That game hurt me so badly in so many ways. I hadn't played it in a really long time. I've recently picked it up again, and I'm enjoying it. I played it on hard. Never fucking stop talking about that. By the way, picking it up again when you haven't played it for whatever it's been, 5-6 months, and you are playing on expert, will make you want to tear your face off. Literally. Not exactly a pick up and play game when you've already hit the end game and you're, I think Xbox told me I was almost 5 days in. You can do the math on those hours. But yeah, it's a really painful game. And if you have reached the end game, there is more than one end state. I will just say that. They all come with their own agony. There are so many sad things that happen in that game, and the performances are incredible. They are all slam dunks, and I think it's worth noting. And I saw the motion capture actor for, I believe it was Gustave. I don't think it was Renoir. I think it was Gustave, but I may be mistaken there. I think so. Said, no, I don't think it was. Maybe it was Verso. I'm pretty sure it was Gustave. Came out to say that that they think that the award for best performance should go to the character, because the mocap artist is not the same as the voice artist. And Charlie Cox, voice actor, completely agreed with that sentiment. So I think it's worth highlighting here that I do think the overall praise of the performances does, in my mind, and I want to convey that to you, extend to the motion capture artists, the actors, because I think that is a huge part of the success and physicality and impact of those roles as well. So I want to add on to that. But yeah, I booted that game back up again, and I was like, I don't know if I can handle this. I rewatched the ending because my dad just hit the end of that game, chose the wrong ending. We won't get into that. But yeah, it's really devastating. I think also the more you unpack what's going on, the more you learn about it. It's just agony. It is really a meditation on grief. And I want to fucking cry just thinking about it. It's not even the major terrible things that happen. It's just the mood, and it's just every character has suffered. And it's interesting because the last episode I told you about what I really thought about Fallout New Vegas, and every character trauma dumps on you, and the case goes here too. They also trauma dump on you. But they do so over the course of 100 hours, not immediately upon meeting them. So it's really earned, and a lot of really brutal things have happened to these characters, and they have developed, their personalities are such a reflection of experiencing the things that they've been through and those traumas, and there's such a desperation in the way that they're fighting for themselves and fighting for the people around them. And it's just getting back into it because I wanted to experience more of the game, and I know I missed out on the story because I felt like when I hit the end game, I needed to put that game down for various reasons that I won't get into. It fucking hurt. The music hurts. Being so bad at the combat sometimes hurts. But honestly, I will take the shit being beaten out of me to just the emotional pain of watching one of these characters make a horrific decision, or just like, it's just so painful. And it's especially painful because it links back to that excellent quote, who at the moment I couldn't tell you who said it, but I'm sure you could Google it right now. I don't want to waste your time by looking it up because, as I've said, I don't edit this. The best villain, Amore Joss Whedon said this. That's fine, it's somebody. The best villain is a villain who doesn't think that they're the villain. They think that they are the hero. Not in like a creepy dictator way. In like they truly believe what they're doing is right. And every single person in this game is not a bad guy. Every single person is doing what they think is right, is doing what they think is the action of love and support and empathy and the betterment of everyone involved, I think, by and large. And I think that particularly of the major characters that may be seen to be more villainous, I think that they are heroic in their ways, and I completely empathize with them, and that impacted the decisions that I ended up making in the game. And that was an evolution of the way that I saw them and the more that I grew to understand them. And that feeling is something I felt in Persona and something I felt in Cyberpunk, and I've talked about that before, and I think it takes a really clever game to take a character. We always return to Keanu Reeves, Johnny Silverhand. That is so abhorrent, and you're like, this guy fucking blows. And you would just lay down your goddamn life for him by the end of that game. And I think Claire also does an incredible job both ways, honestly, of taking characters that you are just like, this person's infallible, and then being like, what are you doing? And and that spinning the other way, perhaps not to the point of infallible, but to the point of, I think that you're right. And I think there's just so much complexity there. It's such an emotional game. The soundtrack doesn't fucking hurt. I mean, help. It doesn't help. It hurts. It doesn't help you feel better. So that was my game that was too sad to keep playing. The next category, I'm just working down the list, and it's good because it's all just the first ones that came to mind. The next category that I've got for you is the 2025 game that is too boring to sell anyone on, but I love it. And that's Root Trees Are Dead. I won't beat you over the head with this one because it's too boring to sell you on, but I love it. You quite literally, and I have described this in an earlier podcast, so that is another reason I won't go on. You are basically sitting and using what I can equate to a 90s search engine, trying to piece together the story of this family. There are these mysterious deaths in the family, and you have to track back to find out how all of these people in the family are connected, all these little conspiracies and side things. You're filling out their family tree, essentially. And as you can imagine, there's so much to figure out. Now, I did give this game a secondary award, and I think this is a good moment to drop this in. I'll do it like the Game Awards. You know, how they just rattle off 5 awards in a row for things that they decide don't matter. So the secondary award that it did win in my JessicAwards is the 2025 game that ruined my life. Now, you'd think this would be pretty contentious. As I just said, I spent almost 5 days cumulatively playing Clair Obscur. I played everything that I played this year for far more hours than How Long to Beat would suggest that I should be playing it. Root Trees was a game I would play till 4 in the morning. It is very hard. It's sort of along the lines of Obra Dinn and Lorelei, but instead of looking at all these beautiful graphics, you sit at a search engine the entire time. Sometimes pictures come up. Then you're selecting little bits and pieces of information. You're gathering the tiniest little things. Sometimes you can look up stuff in periodicals from the 90s, a blurb from a movie from the 30s that might say something about a certain character. It is really difficult. It demands a lot of you, and because it demands a lot of you, you really sink into it. And to me, it was this year's Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. If you're someone who just wants like a real demanding, I would call it more of a detective game than an adventure game, but something to really like exercise your brain. But it's really rewarding when you do start putting pieces together, especially when this is another game, and I've talked about adventure games like this before, where you do just sit and not know what to do for 5 hours. When you start working things out, it's really satisfying. And this is the kind of game that trained me into a proven capacity, which I wasn't when I was a little kid, to be a person that refuses to look up spoilers. There's even a hint system in the game, and I'm like, nowhere near it. Don't you dare. I'm never clicking that. So that game absolutely devoured my life. Yet again, I played it for way more hours than I needed to. I desperately didn't want it to end. But because of the way that it looks and the only way I can describe it, I played it for 33 hours. But because, yeah, of the way it looks and the way I describe it and the main thrust of it, it is the 2025 game that is too boring for me to sell you on, even though I absolutely loved it. And it is one of the nominees for my game of the year. So let's move right along. I think I'm gonna go a little faster. So I say that and then I take forever. So my 2025 game of the year that I loved and hated, which may be a little strong, I really didn't like some parts and I really liked some parts, was Dispatch. I saw a really good TikTok video that summed up how I felt about this game, which is that, and this might feel rough, it's like Twilight for dudes. So Twilight is a game that has a character, a woman so plain and basic and just this like meek high school girl that every single insecure high school girl, and everyone's insecure in high school, so pretty much everyone could put themselves in that shoes, would feel they could superimpose themselves onto. There are two beautiful dudes fighting over her. She's also got all these, like, she's got powers, like, she's very good. She's the center of the universe, even though she's so awkward and weird. Dispatch is the same. It has a dude who would otherwise just be this completely average, run-of-the-mill, like, paper cutout guy. Don't get me wrong, Aaron Paul is amazing. I did love a lot of the dialogue. But this is a guy that is primed for a self-insert for anybody. And the girl on this TikTok said everything he says is hilarious. Everything he says is a slam dunk. He's so clever. People seem to have a go at him. Everyone calls him unfit, but he's like cut. He's got the two hottest girls in the game. Well, I guess that's arguable. He's got two hot as hell girls like desperately going after him for I don't know what fucking reason. A lot of the dialogue I found to be really cringy. Another thing this girl said, and I said a lot of things while I was playing and then watched videos about it, so I didn't realize other people felt the same way. The whole game is an unbelievable HR violation, and normally I'm not a prude about that stuff. If you've been watching my recent playthrough of Fallout New Vegas, a lot of it is just like, who can we bone and how? Like, that's fine. But it's just awkward. It's like, you don't even really get to choose investment in these people. Like they just throw themselves at you multiple times. People like kiss you or get all up on you without you showing any interest. And it feels really fucking awkward. This particular TikTok video, the girl pointed out, no woman in the history of the world especially doesn't know you and you're not going out, is just going to be like, I had a sex dream about you. Let me tell you about it. That's never what. That is the most Twilight self-insert weird like fantasy thing. Like, there's just a lot of things about it that to me felt a little bit comic book childish. I really enjoyed the dispatching parts. I thought there were elements of the story I really enjoyed. I liked the old dude. I really liked Phenomenon. I thought he was really entertaining. There were characters I really enjoyed. There were a lot of characters I could have taken or left. Look, again, I'm not a prude. My Twitch channel has an emote that says let's bone. Like, I've done save scumming to like get it on with people before because I've like made the wrong conversation choice. But in this game, everything just felt so awkward and pushed on you, and everything felt quite unnatural. In almost a dating simulator type way. It's a little odd. I also felt a little conflicted about the quick time events in the cutscenes that sort of didn't really seem to matter. I couldn't really tell if they mattered or not. They were beautifully, the action looked gorgeous. I really enjoyed a lot of the story beats. I thought it played out in a very cool, classic underground, like underdog, scrappy kind of comic book way. I thought that was sick. There's a natural superhero stuff that I don't mind at all. Like there's the Deus Ex Machinas and the contrived stuff, and it doesn't, that doesn't bother me. Like I don't need it. I don't care if there's plot holes and shit like that or things that aren't explained. Um, as someone who really enjoys the strategy of games, I got a little bit frustrated with like bits in the story where you're not intended to dispatch well because like your guys are all like fucking you over and they don't like you, so they just refuse to go on missions. And I'm someone who wants to like optimize and do that like as well as I possibly can, and the narrative comes before the gameplay in a lot of those parts, so it's like it's not about like killing it and coming out with a 10 out of 10 day. Some days it's like the whole narrative is built around everybody fucked up today, which I totally get. Found kind of frustrating. Thought the episodic nature worked really well. I thought that they were really nice and tight. I've played other episodic games where they feel overly long. They never felt overly long. It didn't feel like there was fluff kind of at all, which I think is really impressive. So yeah, there were things about it I really enjoyed. There were things about it that really bothered me. And back to the prude thing, I came out at the end of the game with no love interest, which I think was just me and 1% of people. Because I felt weird about it. I felt like I had no agency. It's not that I didn't like Invisigal or Blonde Blazer. I don't even remember their names. It's just that I I didn't feel like it was about me liking them and like getting into it. It was sort of just like this aggressive keenness from these people I didn't know yet and didn't get to know and worked with. And I just felt weird about it. And I don't think there was enough time. Yeah, I could get over the work together thing. There wasn't enough time to build me wanting to form a relationship with either of them. So it just felt a bit awkward. So anytime I was pressed into those situations, it just felt like a disconnect for me. So really enjoyed some parts of it. Really enjoyed the dispatch gameplay. A lot of the dialogue genuinely really funny. Some excellent story beats. And those were the things that bugged me. All right. 2025 Jess Award for accepting the non-completionist life. Now, I am a completionist, which you may know if you know anything about me. If you don't, I'm a completionist. I take forever to play video games. Fallout New Vegas is fucking killing me. Love it. But I'm doing everything to the point where sometimes it feels like a shopping list. But this year some games helped me accept a non-completionist life. So I'll quickly, my runners-up are Claire Obscure, because the end game I chose, I missed out on loads of story, but it felt like the right thing to stop. And it just felt like it reached its inevitable conclusion, and I was good with, which I would never normally be, I was good with missing out on enormous parts of the story and different gameplay areas because it felt like the right thing for the narrative for where I was at. The other runner-up is Blueprints. No one finished Blueprints. I've talked about that many times. I don't think one person in the whole world finished Blueprints. I don't think the people who made I don't think Raw Fury finished Blueprints. I know a lot of people who everybody made it to the last room. Lots of people made it to the underground area, learned a lot of the things they were to learn about. Will not say the spoilers. A lot of people rolled credits. I don't think there's fucking anybody who fully completionisted that game. If there is, well done. I cannot imagine. But without further ado, the winner, and this is an interesting one. The winner of my game of the year of accepting the non-completionist life was Seance at Blake Manor. This is an interesting one because this game was on a timer. And so I had to kind of make peace at the beginning that I may not be able to save everyone. There are like 25 characters who all have very complicated stories for whom you need to learn about, find their alibi, see how they're related to the main case you're actually doing, for which there are 4 different parts, all with branching sections. And separately to that, you need to solve the individual side quest slash problem slash whatever it is for every single individual character. And you have to do this over the space of 3 days. And these are 3 days where you do need to sleep. So yeah, look, it's, I kind of went in being like, I don't want to, and I don't do this. I don't want to go in with a guide. I don't want to get it perfect. I'll do my best. I also didn't want to save scum. So every time you do something, it takes up a minute of time. And that includes, like, I'm going to look at this rack of clothes. And then the response is, it's a rack of clothes. So you can waste a lot of time doing a lot of needless stuff. It does let you save liberally. If you really wanted to, you could inspect a rack of clothes, see that it's nothing, and reload. I didn't want to play it that way because I feel like that's kind of taking away the main thrust and point of that mechanic, so I didn't. I did manage to, and it felt very satisfying. I managed to save everybody I could, which was hard. There was a special endgame state that required me to find one thing that I did not find. So I missed out on the perfect ending. I got a good ending, and I saved everybody. So I did quite well. I didn't do as good as I could have done. Part of me thought about loading. I would have had to load, so I made so many different saves. I would have had to load maybe a day back and then found the piece of evidence I was missing to conclude a certain storyline and then get that final thing. Kind of thought about it, ultimately decided not to do that. It's a game that demands a lot of you. You have to do a lot of things in a specific order. It's also a huge mana, and it's very hard to find the people you need to find when you want to talk to them, because people move around every single hour and you don't necessarily know where they've moved to. You can find their timetables, but they're also not complete. And also, finding their timetable or asking for it will cost you a minute at least, probably several minutes, and then times that by the number of people there are in the game, which is like 30. So yeah, ultimately I decided, even though I didn't get the true and complete ending, I was happy with how I did. I began that game and continued that game deciding not to save scum. I'm at the very end, there were 3 different things that you could do on a totem pole that would lead to 3 different endings. I did check those out with what I had available to me because I did have a little bit more information to let me do one extra thing. One of them was dooming the whole fucking world. So I did see that ending, but unfortunately did not get that ending. But apart from that, yeah, I sort of went down the rabbit hole. I'm wondering if I looked something up. I feel like I don't think I did. There's a chance at one point I might have looked up where somebody was at a certain hour because I desperately needed to find them in that hour before something else happened. Oh, I think it was more like, why hasn't this human spawned? And it's like, he doesn't rock up till day 2. Some things like that, it's just like, what is happening? Is this broken? And it's like, oh no, that character's just not here yet. Don't worry, you can do other things. And I ended up having way more time than I thought I would, which is really cool because I felt really efficient. And I guess that's it was another investigator game. This one is not as boring to sell anyone on because it's sort of beautiful to look at and you're doing more things than sitting there Googling. So that was my my pick for not being such a terrible completionist. I do think about it all the time. The fact that I didn't get that piece of evidence, and that if I did, I would have done 100% of the right stuff, but that's fine. My next Jessica Award for 2025 is the best couch co-op game. I'm not sure I played too many couch co-op games this year, but I'm giving it to Split Fiction, which is coincidental because my dad's coming over in like 12 minutes. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a wriggle on, / he's going to be here for the end of this. But I'm having a really good time playing Split Fiction. I actually didn't finish It Takes Two. I did finish A Way Out, and I stayed friends with that person. I won't spoil the end of that game. but I'm still best friends with the person that I played A Way Out with, which is pretty impressive. um, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. I am, of course, I'm sorry. Sometimes I jump through things. All these games are developed by the same person. They've moved on to largely doing couch co-op games, which is really cool. Split screen. Split Fiction is a bit of fun. It's a lot of fun to play with someone. I think that the writing is not as good. The story is not as interesting at all as their previous games. Joseph Fares has a very strange sense of humor, though, and some of the stuff in there is really entertaining. Also, a wild imagination. There's insane shit that happens in that game, which is really cool. And because of the nature of it, it exists in the manifestation of fiction novels. So basically, their world is, you know, their playground as far as like what they want to do. Fares, Joseph Fares, as far as what they want to do with it. And I think they're really capitalizing on that. And it's just a lot of fun to play with somebody. I love couch co-op games. Yeah, I will finish It Takes Two eventually, but this year I'm really enjoying Split Fiction, and I will enjoy it when I'm playing it in 20 minutes time. The Jess Award, ooh, this was tight. The 2025 Jess Award for the most anger-inducing game. The close runner-up is Ghost of Yotei. Because, and I'll describe this quickly, because a lot of this stuff I've said in some previous podcasts, check them out if you haven't, they're pretty good, is the whole game outside of one-on-one battles seems to enable you to engage in combat in whatever way you see fit. You can come in stealthy. You can come in ranged. A combination of the two. Stealth archers, I see you. I was playing like that for a while. You can come in hand-to-hand, big on melee. You can drop bombs, you know, come in with guns. There are lots of different options, and you're encouraged to swap between all those. But you also don't have to. Now, you are also dually dropped into arena battles where all that fucking shit goes out the window, and I hope you're good at one-on-one melee and constantly swapping weapons and knowing the scissors, paper, rock of which weapons you need to be using based on what weapons they're using, because they come at you hard and fucking fast. And if you have been choosing any other playstyle to preference, other than getting good at parrying and hand-to-hand, you're going to struggle. And that game made me furious. Furious. And the only reason it's the runner-up is that if it weren't for recency bias, it may be Yotei. But I remembered how much Claire Obscure just destroyed me. I already described earlier how jumping back into it after not playing it for a long time made me want to quite literally rip my face off. It is the only game, and I said this, I played a little bit on stream a couple of streams ago. It is the only game that I've played in recent years, because I've gotten a lot better. Username used to be Temper for obvious reasons. It is the only game I played in recent years that I've had to gentle parent myself, not gentle, strictly. Jessica, if you're gonna chuck a tantrum and get this angry, you cannot play. If you're going to sit here and scream at a monitor and grab the controller and have that big of a tanty, you're not allowed to play the game anymore. That is, can't be like that. So Claire Obscure wins. Again, I think this is a reflection of my stubbornness and my inability to just come back later. Because it's a game where you can go grind and come back later. Or you can not play on expert. Or you can dodge instead of parry. But I won't do any of those things. Oh wait, here I have more for you. You cannot be using the Picto, which is like a perk, that makes you do more damage, but take double damage. You could also not be using an additional Picto that doesn't let you heal. That doesn't let any of your characters be healed at any point. I'm using all of those, so I'm playing on expert and actively making the game harder on a regular basis. And the parry window is tiny compared to the dodge window. Could be dodging. I'm not. I must parry. So it's all my fault, the anger inducingness. So I've induced the anger on my own. Claire hasn't induced the anger. Claire induced the sadness. That one's on Claire. Very quickly, for the 2025 best ending, Claire Obscure. Kind of already talked about it, won't spoil it. Think it's fantastic. One of the greatest fantasy stories I think I've ever experienced. Incredibly deep, wonderful characters. Just a joy to be in that world and to have experienced that. No, it's not a joy. It fucking sucked and it hurts every time I think about it. Great game. The Jess Award for the best game that defeated me. Now, this one I thought was kind of interesting. So by game that defeated me, I mean a game that I didn't finish. There were a lot of these. Now, normally I am a completionist. Normally I'm a die-hard, I will finish this thing no matter what. Unless I drop it super early because it sucks. But if I've sunk in a bunch of hours, like I'm not just gonna stop. I don't stop playing games. I want to roll credits on that thing if I've given it hours of my time, unless I'm really not enjoying it. And I am talking here about the best games that defeated me. So these games are games that I did really enjoy, but I didn't finish. So the one I'm leaning on is not the one I got closest to the end. It is the one that I think that I would say objectively for me, so subjectively, that I think is the best game that I didn't finish. Runners up, South of Midnight. Fuck, I want to play that game. I'm just gonna watch a YouTube video. I hate the combat. I don't know why. There's just something about it. It's not clicking with me. I've tried it a couple times. I tried turning it down. I just don't like it. There's something about that specific breed of action adventure dodge heavy, throwing multiple guys at you. I also don't like it in Insomniac games, actually. I think it might be similar to that. I don't like it in Batman. I didn't like it in Spider-Man. There's something about that very specific kind of, you're pulled pretty far out and you're dealing with guys coming from different sides, and you need to be quite nimble and mobile, and also you don't have a lot of opportunities for how to engage. So you don't have a huge arsenal. It's not like, it doesn't have enough RPG elements where you can spec into a combat approach that suits you better. It really is largely action. Just not something I really jive with, unfortunately. And I'll freely admit that I think it's a skill issue as well. I don't enjoy it, and I don't think my brain goes fast enough, and I just don't like it. So I thought that was, I loved everything that wasn't the combat. So it's such a shame that I couldn't get into it. Yeah, so I might watch someone play that. Another runner-up, Outer Worlds 2. Really enjoyed Outer Worlds 2. Hit the level cap and it just wasn't doing it for me anymore. I struggled with that game. That would be another huge contender for love-hate, except I think I loved it much more than I hated it. The things I didn't like about it were, it took me a long time to warm up to the companions, which I think made it a bit difficult for me. Once I did, I really did. I think the dialogue is phenomenal. It's such a funny game. It's a fun game to play. Love the traits. Talked about it in previous podcasts. If you want to hear me say more about it, go check those out. Ultimately, I hit level cap. I hate hitting level cap. Feels like I have nowhere to go. In an RPG, progression is so important to me. I do love experiencing story and ticking off quests and like learning more about the game, but I really, specifically in that genre, need to feel like I'm always building and getting better. And when I hit level cap and I stopped doing that, it kind of lost its flavor for me. I believe there was a mod or something that I was told about, that you can take the level cap off. I found out about that afterwards. Essentially what I'd done is, I'm so close to the end game, I was just running through areas to just tick off, like pick up what I needed to, bring it back to the area, run over there, and it just lost me. I was just not really enjoying it anymore. And it was the kind of game where people were like, you can just stop. And there were other games I wanted to pick up, so I actually did just stop. And I also feel like I had a really good time with it. And I do remember how much I loved the ending of the first game. I'm not so one day I might go back and see what the ending is, but it didn't grab me as much narratively. So I feel kind of okay about missing out on it. But yeah, it's pretty comfy putting that one down. But the best game that I stopped playing was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I fucking love Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It was so unique. It was so different. And now that I remember, I had the same level cap issue. I hit level cap, so it was an Outer Worlds 2 issue, and it was also an early pre-patch Starfield issue where I was over encumbered all the time, and it was just such a hassle trying to find vendors who I could sell my stuff to. And I felt really good about completing the whole, the big first area. I really enjoyed all the bits and pieces, and there's a lot of emergent gameplay and different things you can do, and I really liked that. It felt like a real underdog story of being so shit and getting better and better and better. I liked the really slow, demanding combat. It was hard in its own way. I really liked the narrative. I found it's so interesting. Really liked the characters. It was delivered in such a different way than most games I played, and I really enjoyed it. I hit the second area. I think it's the second area, which is another huge piece of map, and I was like, I just can't do anymore, man. I just can't. It's just too much. So it beat me. It beat me. It was a combination of I'm overburdened. I can't sell my stuff. I'm tired of just like trekking from thing to thing, trying to sell my things, and I just don't know how much more map I can just run around. So I put it down, but I really loved it. So I think it was my favorite of those games. Quickly, my 2025 Jess Award for Best Game in the Wings. That's a game that I played some of and I really want to play more of, but I haven't, so I won't say too much about them because I haven't played enough. This, I think, has to be a combo of The Alters and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Both of them I really want to play, but I, for multiple reasons, just haven't cracked into them. I think both of them I would really enjoy too. What I have played of them I've really enjoyed. They're sitting in the backlog, but they're ones on the backlog I've really got my eye on. So they're the ones from 2025 that I got my eye on most of all, that I didn't finish. This is a good one, I think. My 2025 Jess Award for the best game I should have let defeat me. So this is the game I did finish and I shouldn't have, is Ghost of Yotei. I was so unhappy by the end of that game that when I talked to people about it, because of the complaint I already gave you, they said, you can just stop. But every time I hit a non-arena part, non-one-on-one, I loved it. You sent me into the final big fortress siege, dropping my smoke bombs, pulling off my chain assassinations. It felt so good. I was like, this is amazing. This is some of the best like gameplay experience I've had all year. And so I'd have these high highs and then I get thrown into a one-on-one, particularly the last boss fight, and I fucking hated it. I hated it. It took me so many times to pull it off. I wasn't, again, skill issue, hadn't geared up, hadn't done enough practice on melee one-on-one parry, got smashed so many times. Had to do that thing where you keep listening to the same box and the same dialogue. There's a bit where it's like, don't worry, we're still here with you, from the voices in your head. Story also lost me. I found it to be quite rote. And by the end, those things were really significantly hitting more than the wins, and I think I would have enjoyed it more if I just stopped. There is an epilogue that happens after the final fight that I didn't care about or pay much attention to because I was not that connected to the characters. I thought some of the story beats were incredibly silly, and I was so pissed off by the final fight and the fact that I'd been bullied into engaging in a way that I hadn't been playing the game, that I was just over it. So, yeah, that's a game I should have let defeat me. There was one more runner-up I will quickly tell you about. No, the reason I didn't make it a runner-up for best game that defeated me, I was thinking about Death Stranding, but I don't think. I think that was the mediumest game that I let defeat me. No, that I wanted to defeat me. That was the finest game that I wanted to defeat me. I had a fine time with that game while it lasted, and I'm fine being done with it. I loved the first one so much, and this one was okay. It did everything that I liked from the first one, and I'm good. And I'm pretty good, I think. I still enjoyed what I played of it, but I didn't need. I like Outer Worlds 2. I didn't feel like I need to play any more of it. So then, another little addendum. Oh, these are both sort of the same. My Jess Award for Best Brain Train Root Trees. Kind of told you about that. That was my best that was Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. That came out last year or a year before. Anyway, it was that. That, I think, it made my brain better at adventure games forever, whether I wanted to or not. This year was Root Trees. And then dually, not on the investigation adventure side, my Jess Award for 2025 best game that made me get good was Clair Obscur, because I accidentally set it on expert and I was too stubborn to turn it down. So that game really made me get good. I've had games like that a few times. Hellblade did that really back in the day. Normally I would never play a game that wasn't too demanding, but I'd not really played a game that was particularly demanded timing on dodges and parries, and having a very specific approach. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 would be another runner-up for a game of this year that really demanded I get good, and something that I might have been like, this is too hard. At the beginning of Clair Obscur, first fight against Mael, I was like, I can't fucking do this. This is too hard. But it demands that you learn its systems in an Elden Ringish From Software-y kind of way. And I like that. And I think that that's cool. Oh, yeah. And then, well, my second to last award, my Jess Award for 2025 cleverest / and this was just something I thought about. There might be different ones. Most irritating mechanic that was also pretty clever. If you caught any of my Ghost of Yotei streams, the answer to this one is the buddy system. What the fuck? Now, apparently, guards are going off in twos, so you can't pick them off one by one for a game that is already a little bit demanding and pretty challenging and pretty punishing if you get caught out, particularly with the way that I was kitted out and the build that I was going for in my combat style. It really required me to be able to pick guys off. And before I had chain assassination, guards using the buddy system, and instead of just having 5 guys walking completely different directions, all standing ominously close to a high set of flowers or weeds that I could crouch in, and they for some reason wouldn't see me and I could drag them into, really caused an issue, especially early on. So well done, the guards of Ghost of Yotei. I got you eventually, but that was a smart move from them. So that's sort of a congratulations to the NPCs. And then, do I have a High Guard award? Do I have a High Guard award of most disappointing game I played this year? I don't think there's no game that occurred to me that I played this year that I actively didn't enjoy, that I think that I would like highlight as something. No, I don't think there was, which is kind of interesting. There were games that weren't really for me, but I wouldn't say that they were like bad like actively a lot of people were like, no. So I guess my High Guard award, that is a disappointing thing at the end, is that I told you there would be one and now there isn't. So you are experiencing the High Guard disappointment. Eh? It works. I will end, though, and I'll end quickly because there's no reason to belabor it, on my Jess Award for Game of the Year, because that's what you're supposed to do, is put Game of the Year at the end. Nominees, Root Trees, probably Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Bit of recency bias attacking that one because it came out so early in the year, so did Root Trees. But I really enjoyed what I played of that while I played it, thought it was really unique, despite not finishing it. Speaking of despite not finishing it, Blue Prince was also a fantastic game that came out this year that I had a really good time with. Again, don't feel like I need to go back to it. I'm not sure that it's finishable. I don't think anybody's finished it. But from what I played, it was really enjoyable and satisfying. I really like doing the runs. And for someone who doesn't like losing progress and having to go back to base, there are some things you maintain, but by and large, having to start again was actually really enjoyable to keep starting again. And I did a lot of runs of that game. So that's a runner-up. Game of the Year, Claire Obscure. Easy. It's very rare to find a game that succeeds so completely in the narrative realm, the inventive realm, the performances, the writing, the combat, the combination of turn-based and real-time combat works really well. The world is beautiful. It's funny, it's sweet, it's charming, it's painful, it's epic. The soundtrack is incredible. I struggle to fault it. I really struggle to find. No, I can fault it. My fucking kingdom, for especially having gone back to the game, for being able to know you've completed an area. Just give me a little Bethesda, the fucking yellow forest is cleared. Just tell me it's cleared. Tell me it's done. Because right now I'm running around trying to remember where I've been to, where I haven't been to. So there, I can fault it. But apart from that, I just think it's an unbelievable game. And I think it absolutely deserves all the due that it's received. I think it's really special. I think it's in the Disco Elysium category for me of something that is completely unexpected, extraordinarily special, and a really landmark game in what art is and can be in the medium. And I'm glad that they added the story mode, which I know they added for Jennifer English, who is the voice actress for Mael, and Shadowheart for that matter, because she couldn't play the game and wanted to because it was too hard. It is a fucking hard game. I believe they added the story mode and they made it easier. And I think that that's great because it's a wonderful story that everyone should experience. And I love accessibility. And I love that it wasn't a situation where they insisted it needed to be hard. They just want people to experience it. And that's wonderful because it deserves to be experienced. I will not drop any spoilers. That would be the worst possible thing. Apart from to say that I think it's absolutely worth your time. Also, I think it's still free on Xbox Game Pass. That's where I played it. That's nuts. That's nuts to me. Although, come to think of it, they did just drop DLC for it, and I don't know if the DLC is free. I hope it is, because I want to play it. No, I don't think it is. Well, look, I mean, I played the game for 125 hours, and I didn't pay anything. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, actually, I can't quite see if it's paid or not, but I won't waste any more of your time at the end here to figure out if it is or isn't. Either way, absolutely worth your time. Wonderful game. Hit me up in the comments. You can use all those categories if you want to. You can just use some of them. You can just weigh in on the things I said. Give me your High Guard award for biggest disappointment of the year. Mine might go to the Miss Piggy parts of the Game Awards, which I feel like those minutes could have been used to congratulate the actual developers who made the beautiful games that came out this year. Yeah, that's my High Guard. Let me know your game of the year. And yeah, please avoid spoilers down in the comments if you can. I appreciate you spending your year with me. And yeah, drop by the stream. Looking forward to spending 2026 with you, giving you more podcasts and random nonsense and more What Culture videos. Speaking of which, the What Culture bloopers are up now on What Culture Gaming. I say sorry a lot, which I do in general. So yeah, catch me on my socials if you like. I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I'll say I'll see you again next year, but I actually am recording this in 2026. I guess I'll see you again next year, but it's too early to say that now. So I'll see you again through this year. Fucking stuck the landing. Okay. Love you. Bye.